Welcome in, dads, to the Full Force Fathers podcast alongside my co-host Dave. I am Brett. Welcome in. Happy July 4th, Dave.
Yeah, we released this episode a day early because it's the 4th of July. It's a day for picnics, barbecues, get-togethers, celebrating our independence. 4th of July is a great holiday. I love it.
Yeah, it is Independence Day. It is America's birthday. I mean, July 4th, 1776. I mean, it is all about it. So it's a great day to be an American. We got a great show today. Today's show, we are going to kind of mimic our Father's Day show. We got great feedback on the Father's Day episode where we kind of said like best TV dad and worst TV dad and, you know, all those things. So we're going to do that today with the July 4th episode. We're going to do all things America, you know, cities, foods, whatever. We're going to have a bunch of Q&A to go back and forth. And that's going to be a fun part. We're going to talk a little bit about being American in the beginning here. And it's going to be a fun episode, Dave. I'm super excited for this episode today.
Yeah, me too. This is going to be a good one. We've got some great answers. Some of them are probably similar. But hopefully this gets you guys thinking about some American things and some of your favorite parts about living in the greatest country in the entire world.
Yeah, absolutely, Dave. So as always, I'm going to start off with a Bible verse. So today's Bible verse comes from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 16. It says, "Live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover up for evil." So obviously the main line in that is live as free people, but do not use your freedom as a cover up for evil. And we could probably argue with that Bible verse that there's got a lot to do with what's going on in this country right now. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. I think there's a lot of evil that's out there in this world right now. And it's under the cloak of freedom. And people use that freedom to do things that they shouldn't do, and that, you know, hinder everyone else's ability to live a free life and, you know, have that pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point of being an American is freedom, to have your freedoms, right? You know, that's what the Constitution's all about, your freedom of speech, your freedom to possess and bear arms. And there's a lot, like you said, I like the word you use, cloak. There's a lot of evil going on behind the scenes right now, even in our own country, that's been disguised as freedom. And if this last 2 years has not shown us that, then either you're sleeping under a rock or you just don't pay attention. But yeah, so like, I got a question for you, Dave. You know, we're very patriotic. Both of you and I are very patriotic Americans. We love our country. We fly our flags high. We put our hands on our heart and stand up for the national anthem. I mean, what is being an American? What does it mean to you?
And it means the world to me. I am so blessed to live in this country and to have opportunities that the majority of the world doesn't have. And to be able to raise my kids in a free society is something that's incredibly exciting. And I'm very blessed to have that ability, because I realize not everyone has that same fortune in their life. We live in a country that you really can pursue happiness. It's not the same country that it was when we were growing up, and that's disappointing. And we need to get it back to that point. But the ability to just live a free life, go pursue what you want to pursue, start your own business, do whatever you want to do for entertainment in a lawful way where there's boundaries and there's set things for your safety and protection. And we live in a country that, you know, with our military, it's the safest country in the world. Yeah. And that to me is just incredible to be able to just do those things. We don't realize that people so close to us don't have that ability. They don't have the ability to just, you know, go out to eat wherever they want to go out to eat and play whatever sports they want to have. And, you know, just do what they want to do. And for me, I can't imagine a life where that's not the case.
Yeah, no. And to piggyback, like, look what we're doing right now, right? We're doing a podcast. Like, this is America. Like, we're allowed to hit record on a podcast, distribute it freely, you know, and people can listen to it freely. You know, the word freedom, the word free and freedom is the key part of the phrase. And, you know, we're allowed to do this. This is, you know, a place where we have a platform and a voice. Yeah, maybe it's a small voice right now because we're just starting off, but it's still a place where we can go and voice our pleasures and displeasures and concerns and good things and bad things, and without freedom, without being an American, we don't have that right in a lot of other countries out there. So, being an American, being free, being able to do what you want, like you said, and get a job, go to college, don't go to college, work, whatever you want to do, start a business. Like those are fundamental values, in the pursuit of happiness in this country. And right now it's a little troubling to say the least, but I think it can be fixed. I don't think it's too far gone to where it can't be fixed, but I just think to be an American, you read stories, of people who come here from a different country and they know what it's like to not have freedom, and they see what's going on right now. And they're like, whoa, like I've experienced this elsewhere. And those are the people that we really should be bending an ear and listening to, because there are tons of people that come from different countries where they did not have their freedoms. They came here and were granted those freedoms. And now they're like, wait a second, this is eerily familiar to what I, either grew up in or what I got away from. So, but to be an American, to love your country. And that's something that I do so much. I love this country. And I know you do too.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, like you said, we get to have this platform. We get to walk around and say whatever it is we want to say. Freedom of speech is something that's so powerful and so important. Whether you agree with the things that I believe or you don't, you still have the right to say that. And, I'm proud to live in a country that, fights for that. And the men and women who have served our country to protect that over the years, since gaining our freedom in 1776 and our independence. So, yeah, we have all these rights. We need to protect them. And I am always proud to be an American, always will be, and hope we can, right this ship. Because like I said, it's not where it was when we were growing up, and we need to get back to that place.
Yeah. And another topic is, you touched on it too, is, a tip of the cap to the men and women in the armed services. Without them, we are, like you said, we are protected. We're the most protected. We're the safest country in the world because of our armed services, so you got to tip a cap to the men and women that are fighting to keep us safe, whether it's here or abroad, and to make sure bad doesn't come here onto our soil, to give us the right to do what we do every single day. And we can't thank the military enough in that respect. So,
yep.
Anyways, Dave, I want to jump into this question answer type of thing, and I know it's going to branch into probably a little bit of banter, a little bit of arguments, a lot of agreements. I want to start right away. And I want to start with, I have a list. We compiled a list of questions, or I don't even know if they're questions, they're just statements, and then we respond off the statement. And we're going to start. And the first thing I want to start with, Dave, is what is your favorite / what is a great American city?
For me, it's Boston. Growing up in Connecticut, we were close to Boston, Freedom Trail. There's so much history there in that city that for me, it tops the list. You get the Boston Tea Party, you get all these things that happened in the city of Boston. To me, that is it. It's got Fenway Park and it has the old Boston Garden. Like, you think America, you think like fun cities, a lot of things happen there. To me, it's Boston.
Yeah, Boston is. I broke this one down in two categories. Big city, it's Boston. We both agree on that. And I hope we don't agree on everything, but Boston, to me, you mentioned it, Fenway. You mentioned the old Garden, Quincy Market. There's just so many things that are just so America about Boston. You know what I mean? That you just think, and it's not a knock on New York City. New York City is like the financial capital and yada, yada, yada. And we both don't like New York sports teams, which is, maybe that's why, but,
I'm a little biased there.
But Boston, to me, Boston just has so much more history. That's the difference maker for me. That's what sets them apart is the history of Boston. And then I also wanted to throw because I've been, as you know, I traveled a lot around the country in our RV, and I was talking with Andy and we were going over some stuff, and she's like, what do you have for, answers to your questions? And I said, well, I want to make this a two-parter because there's a small town that we both fell in love with last summer, and it's Custer, South Dakota. And it's like so America. It's like There's state parks, there's national parks. Mount Rushmore is right there, which just is so amazing. There's so much history. There's American flags everywhere. There's motorcycles. You know, South Dakota's like in the heartland of the country. So I give a two-part answer on that one. Boston as a big city, but as a town or a smaller town, smaller community, Custer, South Dakota comes in that list for me. What's the next topic, Dave?
Well, this one for me, this is a good one. I got a few answers for this, but I'll toss it to you first. Greatest American food dish?
Just a good old-fashioned cheeseburger on the grill for me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, cheeseburger's a great
America is known for like burgers and just a hunk of meat, cooking a hunk of meat. You know what I mean? But it's just a good old-fashioned cheeseburger. The 4th of July burgers just makes me think, you know, that's it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I do love a good cheeseburger. Don't get me wrong, but for me, I landed on three, three that I probably couldn't live without. Chicken wings.
That's a good one.
Are right there. Mac and cheese. And New York pizza. It doesn't get much better than that area of the country with pizza.
I can see the pizza. Yeah, New York style pizza is a good one, and that one kind of segues into my great American dessert, and that for me is the New York style cheesecake. As you know, that is my ultimate dessert.
Yeah, and Ann Dean makes a hell of a cheesecake, so you got you got a pretty good deal going there.
Dude, she makes everything. Chocolate, mint chocolate, you name it, peppermint, pumpkin. She makes a pumpkin cheesecake that will blow your mind. But chocolate cheesecake is my favorite. But just to keep it American, a New York style deli cheesecake is my favorite.
Yeah, for me, it's going to the South, baby. It's peach cobbler.
Yeah.
At a barbecue joint. There's nothing better than peach cobbler from a barbecue joint. Absolutely nothing better.
Ann Dean knew you were going to say that. She knew it. She didn't even have to see it. She just knew it. She goes, because as we go, you know, we talk to our wives about our show, and we like to get little bits of information and things from them. And I told her, I said, she's the one who actually brought up the dessert topic, because I said great American food, you know, and she's like, what about dessert? There's like, you know, of course, my wife, the baker, she just loves it. She goes, I bet you Dave put peach cobbler. I'm like, you're right, you put peach cobbler. She doesn't know you all that well, so it's a pretty good guess.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man! All right, how about when you turn on the radio? What's that one American song you want to hear?
Oh, it's "God Bless the USA" by Lee Greenwood, and I don't think there's no second.
There isn't a second. I had the same one, but to be different, I came up with another one, and it's "Born in the USA" by Bruce Springsteen. I think that's another great song, but I will agree. God Bless the USA is just another level. When I was in college, long time ago, I was taking a communication class, and one of my projects was to make a music video. And it was a couple of years after 9/11 that I was in this class. And me and my great friend at the time and roommate decided we were going to do God Bless the USA. And that was going to be our song. So we traveled to New York. We went and got footage, Statue of Liberty. We went to where the towers were. And we made a music video to that song. And it was one of the first projects I ever did in the production space. One of the things I look back on from my time in college and I'm like, wow, that was so fun. And it was because of that song. So I have that song has a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I have a good memory on that. So my brother that passed away, my older brother that's gone, he, at my mother's wedding, so this was my parents, as you guys that follow the show, my parents were divorced when I was little. So my mom's second husband, they got married in 2001, post 9/11. Not very long after 9/11. I think it was in a couple months after 9/11 they had gotten married. And my brother, who went to the Army, was very pro-military, pro-America. 9/11 really lit the fire on him and wanting to join the Army. And there's a video of at my mom's wedding, and there's tons of pictures of my brother dancing with my mom, singing out loud all the words to God Bless the USA. So that was like the mother-son dance like song that my brother had wanted to dance with my mom with. And there's video, you know, obviously those old grainy videos of the early 2000s and late 90s weddings, but there's a video of him singing that almost karaoke style while dancing with my mom around the ballroom, which was a great memory to have of that song. And it's forever, you know, I just think there's hands down, it's the best. It's the best song.
Yeah, I would agree.
what about your favorite American pastime? We both have multiple answers for this. We have similar answers, but we have multiple answers.
Yeah, we do. For me, it's golf, getting out there and playing on the links. I just think that, we are in this free country. We have to go out there and just be out in peace and quiet, just us, the ball. Like, it's great. I love golf. And for me, it's football, man. There's nothing better than turning on the TV, watching some football, getting together with some friends, tossing it around, playing with my kids. Like, football is just, that's a great one.
Yeah, no, golf wasn't even created in this country, by the way.
That's all right. It's still a great pastime for me.
For me, football was one of mine. But initially, when I first thought American pastime, hunting and fishing with my dad, like being able to go out and go fishing, being able to shooting guns, right? That's like America. Like, you have your freedom to go fish, to go shoot guns, to go hunting. And then for a sport, it's football. Because football on Saturdays, as you know from your time working with ESPN, there ain't nothing bigger than football in the South on a Saturday, and that's so American.
Nothing.
Those stadiums packed full of college kids and graduates and little kids that can't wait to go to those schools. And then obviously American football, the NFL rules the world. So that's just a no brainer. From September to January, everybody watches football on Sunday.
Yeah. And you get I'm a Cowboy fan, so I watch a lot of Cowboy games. When they pull that freaking flag out and it covers the entire field, there's nothing better. Maybe the one thing that's better is when they do flyovers, because the flyovers of stadiums is just, man, that just sends shivers down my spine thinking about it.
Yeah, it gives you goosebumps for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, now if only the Cowboys could win a few games and maybe, come back after peaking in the 90s, you know what I'm saying?
That joke was old after last week.
Yeah. Oh, listen, that joke will never get old.
Probably right.
On to the next one. Favorite American vehicle. And this one was hard for me. You knew an answer right away. One was a difficult response for me, but go ahead. You go first.
Yeah, my favorite vehicle, I like fast, so I'm going to go with the Corvette. If I had to pick an all-timer, it'd be the Shelby GT500. But Corvette as like modern day, that's what I would pick as my favorite American.
Corvette is very American. There is absolutely no doubt about it on that one. That's a tough one to go. That's a tough one to shy away from. Like, you think it's a pace car at the races and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
For me, it was down to two. I'm biased to Chevrolet. I've always driven a Chevy. And I don't know, America to me is pickup trucks. I just think America, you think blue collar, you think trucks. So I went with a Chevy truck. So a Chevy Silverado, let's call it. It don't have to be a 1500 or 2500 or whatever. But a Chevy Silverado is like, you think, and then of course Ford people are like, oh, it's the Ford. If it's a Dodge, if it's a whoever. But America, it just makes me think truck. And a second place for me was a Jeep. Jeep is so America too to me. Like, you got four-wheel drive, you can go in the woods with them. You know what I mean?
Take the doors off of them.
Like, that's so like July 4th weekend. You're beach cruising in your Jeep with the doors off, right?
Yeah.
So that was a close second for me. But for me, when I think America, I think pickup trucks. So for me, I went with a Chevy truck, Chevy Silverado for me.
Yep.
Okay. Name one place that you have never been to in this country that you want to go to.
I want to see Mount Rushmore. That's one thing. You went and saw it last year.
It's amazing.
And raved about it. Yeah, and I've heard so many people talk about how incredible it is. That's one place for me. I want to take the kids and Casey and just go and check it out.
It's worth and it's not even expensive to get in there, to be honest with you, but it's worth everything. You got to pay to park, and then you walk in the door. And I went at night. When we got to South Dakota, we were thinking about going right away, and someone had told us, no, go at night, go like twilight time, like so end of day, sunset, and then watch it get lit up at night. And I can't even describe how American and the pride you felt at Mount Rushmore at night, because what they do is they light up Mount Rushmore, and then they do a little in the back side of Mount Rushmore. After you go through the Valley of the Flags in each state, there's an amphitheater, and it's a very big amphitheater, and a park ranger gets on stage, and amphitheater's packed, dude. We're shoulder to shoulder. And the guy gets on stage, and there's like a little, what what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a little documentary type of thing about Mount Rushmore that comes on the screen, and then you sing the national anthem. They play the national anthem, and if you want goosebumps and you want chills, you go to Mount Rushmore at 9:00 at night on a summer night, and every single human that was in that amphitheater, I'm talking a few thousand people, were all standing with their hand on their hearts, singing the national anthem out loud. Everybody was singing it. It was just probably the most patriotic thing I've ever been a part of. You know what I'm saying? In general, like just in an assembly type situation. So yes, Mount Rushmore, you have to go. I recommend anybody goes. It's kind of centrally located in the country. It's kind of a long drive for, if you don't live in the Midwest. It was part of our road trip last summer. But that was like one of the big checkpoints that we knew we had to hit. We had to get there. For me, there's a lot of different national parks I haven't been to yet, but for me, if in a broad scope, I want to go to Alaska. I want to go to Alaska. I want to see what it's all about. As you know me, I am an adventurer. There's no place I'd rather be than in the mountains. And Alaska to me is just like, it's like the frontier. It's like there's grizzly bears and, there's fishing and like it's rugged and weather's kind of crappy all the time. And, it's just to me like Alaska is it like to either go on some kind of hunt. My dad's aunt, so my great aunt said the most beautiful vacation I'll never forget when I was younger she ever had been on was an Alaskan cruise. That's how beautiful it was, So yes, there are national parks that I want to go to. And the good thing about Alaska is you get like 6 national parks if you go to Alaska. There's so many national parks up there. And and if you since our book review of Cam Hanes Endure a few weeks ago, if you read that, you hear some of the hunting stories about Alaska and the wilderness, and man, it makes you just feel like you could run through a wall after you read that. You could read that stuff.
Yeah. Just take me in a helicopter and drop me in Alaska. Let me go.
Yeah. Just that's kind of like, me, that's me. I'm like, yeah, just drop me off in the middle of the woods and let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
Good. What's next?
All right. Well, you just segued in. You said there's a lot of national parks there. What's your favorite national park? I know you've been to a bunch of them. I haven't. So what do you got?
It's not even close. The Grand Tetons. Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming is not hands down. I've been to Yellowstone. I've been to Glacier. I've been to the Utah ones. You name it, I've been to them. I've been to a bunch of them. The raw power, and as you know, I'm a mountain person, the raw power of the Tetons. Just that's what sets it apart. There's mountains in Yellowstone. There's mountains all over the place. There's great, beautiful. I've been to Rocky Mountains, and there's tons of great mountains. But there's just something about the Tetons that is just you feel it in your soul when you see the Tetons. So that one for me is hands down, and I don't even have a close second, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I haven't been to a bunch, so the one I'm going to go to is the Grand Canyon. If you haven't been to the Grand Canyon, get out there and see it. Yeah, a lot of people say, it's just a big hole in the ground. Yeah, it is a big hole in the ground, but holy shit, it is massive. And the colors that you see on those rocks when the sun's coming up in the morning, I mean, it's spectacular, absolutely spectacular. And you think, you hear the Colorado River and how massive it is, and you look, and it's just this little itty bitty tiny thing from where you're standing. And to me, the Grand Canyon is just, it's amazing. It's huge. It's right next to us here in Arizona. Like it's great. Grand Canyon for me.
Isn't it one of the wonders of the world? Like, isn't that? I think it is.
I think
right?
it is.
It's one of is it 7 or 8 wonders of the world? It's
I think it's 7, right? 7 wonders of the world.
It's an impressive hole in the ground for sure.
Yep, no doubt. Impressive hole in the ground.
We're gonna go backwards here. We got off the food topic, but we're back in the food topic. And Dave loves to cook, so I'm gonna let him go with this one first. But like, obviously, barbecue is very American. You can argue like the best barbecues in Texas or Kansas or wherever. I don't know. You would know better than me. I have friends that live in Kansas City, and they will fight to the death to tell you that the best barbecue is in Kansas City. So what's the best barbecue food?
There's a lot of great barbecue. Texas is amazing. Kansas City is amazing. Even Carolina. I'm not a huge vinegar barbecue fan, but they've got some really good food too. But favorite barbecue food for me, if I had to, cook something tomorrow, my favorite thing to do is a tri-tip. That's my favorite thing to do. But if I'm slow cooking, smoking something, man, I'm going pulled pork. Pulled pork is, man, you get that perfect. You can put it on a sandwich. You could put it on mac and cheese. You can eat it by itself. You can do all sorts of different things with pulled pork. You get a lot of it with a big pork butt, and you got leftovers. Like, it's just fantastic barbecue food.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go against my better judgment here because as I am a health nut, I don't eat pork. I think pork is terrible for you. First of all, it's terrible for you. All right. I want to say the health nut in me wants to say barbecue chicken, but if we're going the best tasting barbecue food, it is ribs for sure. You get a rack of ribs, boy, and
spare ribs or baby backs.
I don't know. You give me I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that because
it's got to be baby backs.
Yeah, and just like if they're cooked right, dude, and the meat it just falls right off the bone. Like it's just like you're the cooker of the two of this duo here. I am not. So, but I love a good barbecue drumstick. But if we're going overall flavor, I'm going ribs.
Okay. All right. How about your favorite American movie?
So this one comes, you know me. So when I give you this answer, you're going to know it's one of my favorites. I think I could argue it's the greatest movie of all time. And in my opinion, and if it's not, it's in the top 3 or 5, and that it's Forrest Gump. It's hands down. It's Forrest Gump to me. Like,
yeah,
that movie, like Tom Hanks or don't like Tom Hanks, we were kids when that movie came out. We were, we're kids of the 80s, and that movie came out in the early 90s, maybe 94. And I very, very, very vividly remember that some Blockbuster was around. So if you remember Blockbuster, you had to sign up like 3 months in advance to get that movie to rent it because it was so freaking popular. Remember Blockbuster used to have one bookcase full of the covers. Forrest Gump had a whole fucking row. Like they gave it a whole row because it was so popular. And just that book, dude, like, it goes through all the different times and eras, and he's rich, and then Apple, and then Vietnam, and I mean, he played football at Alabama. Like, I mean, it's so America, that movie. It is just so America. And not to mention the amount of one-liners that have come out of that movie. You could write a book on the one-liners that come out of it.
For sure, dude. And you just hit me on a rabbit hole, man. How amazing was Blockbuster? Like, kids today don't understand.
No, they don't have a clue.
Like the struggles of watching a movie. I mean, Blockbuster, man. I used to go there with my parents on a weekend. We'd have nothing going on a weekend, be raining or something. Like, let's go to the Blockbuster and pick out some movies. And you go in, you'd want to find that movie that everybody else wants to see too. So you'd look, there'd be nothing on the row. Then you'd go and you'd hit the stack of returns. Remember the stack of returns? And you'd look through those. And if it wasn't there, then you'd ask the person, can you check the bin for me? I really want this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
God, dude, I love Blockbuster.
Yeah.
I wish we could go back to a time where stuff like that was around. Now you just flip through and you're like, oh, I want to watch this. Pink, and you watch it.
You can stream anything at any time.
Yeah. For me, it's Rocky.
It's a good one.
I love the Rocky movies.
The whole series is great.
Yeah, they're all great, and you can talk about some of them are terrible. They're not as good as maybe some of the others, but the Rocky franchise, dude, just American trunks, just this guy going out and just doing his thing against all odds, coming up out of Philadelphia, does Rocky.
Yeah, dude's got a statue. It's Rocky. Rocky's a great one.
That's great.
That is a tremendous one.
The soundtrack from Rocky, I mean, dude, it still amps you up when you hear it.
All right, let's piss some people off on this one. Favorite, and everyone listening, before you get all excited, personal favorite president. You want me to take it or you?
You could take it to start.
3 letters. JFK. Done. No argument from me. You want to argue up and down? No argument from me. True American. I don't care about his past. I don't care about his shenanigans. You're talking quality of president. My favorite president, JFK.
Yeah, that's a great answer. This was a tough one for me because obviously we've only been alive for a handful of presidents, right? Mm-hmm. A bunch of different ways you could go. For me, I went with Theodore Roosevelt. I thought what he did for this country when he took office back in 1901 has been incredible. His foreign policy was second to none when he started in that role. You love the national parks so much. He's the reason for those national parks. He is just, man. When I look back on presidents, Teddy Roosevelt for me.
It's a good one. That's a really good one. All right. Best way or favorite way, could be current or past, to spend 4th of July.
Okay. For me, my current situation, I love on the 4th of July to have the smoker going, hanging by the pool. Casey, the kids, anyone else who wants to come over is more than welcome. But as long as I have them, and just, dude, that's peace for me. That's it. That's how I honor Independence Day. We have the ability to do that on that day. For me, that's all it takes.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't need to expand on that. Grilling with your family, hanging out, just enjoying your freedom and your peace, doing all that. You know what I mean? Whether you're poolside or you're beachside or whatever, that's a great way to spend July 4th with friends, with family, with the grill going.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one that we probably are gonna have a couple similar answers, and I think we each have more than one answer here, because I put the question as a broad question, so it could be across all sports. But your favorite arena, it could be football stadium, it could be tennis court, it could be baseball park. You name, give me more than one, because it's really hard to narrow it down to one. So give me one or more than one.
This is going to be really hard. This one's really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the privilege of going to a lot of stadiums around this country.
Yep.
And seeing the traditions that they have. So this one's hard. For me, I have the top three, and then I've got a sub tier.
Oh, Jesus, good.
So for me, Fenway Park is the most iconic, I think. Again, it goes back to I think Boston's the most American city. I think Fenway Park is the most American ballpark. There's nothing better than when you see the flag come down the Green Monster, and it's just, yeah.
You're singing Sweet Caroline. I mean,
yeah, dude. It's just, God, it's so America. It's so great.
And it's
another
baseball.
And it's baseball. It's America's pastime, even though we didn't use that as that. It's America's pastime. My other two on my top three tier are Lambeau Field.
Okay.
And the Rose Bowl. And the Rose Bowl, I've had a couple opportunities to go to, and as far as football venues, I don't think there's anything quite like the Rose Bowl. You come up on it in Pasadena, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's in the middle of it's just like in the middle of this town, and you just come up on the Rose Bowl and you see the roses up on the outside of the stadium, and it's unbelievable. And you walk through, and they've got real grass in there. It's the nicest grass I've ever seen in my entire life. And they take such good care of it. Yeah. And it's just, there's something about it. You got the palm trees around. It's just, and it's nostalgic. You think back of some of the old time commentators that would call games at the Rose Bowl. And it's just, dude, Rose Bowl.
There's that commercial with the guy with the deep voice who talks about the Rose Bowl. What the heck's his name? It's going to drive me crazy now. I can't think of it.
That's my top three, but I want to hear your favorite, and then I'll go into my sub tier after that.
So my two favorite, and I've been to both multiple times, Fenway Park, we both agree on that. I just think Fenway Park, is tremendous. The history, like you said, the flag, it's the Green Monster, dude. It's like and we've been lucky enough in our lifetime to see that baseball stadium, whether you're a Red Sox fan or not, like the history in that baseball stadium that's been witnessed since 2000, and the heartbreaks of like the late 90s, early 2000s to when they finally got through. So Fenway, in a great American city, is, I could argue is number one. And the other one, Madison Square Garden. It is the world's most famous arena. I have been there for, I bet you, 100 basketball games. And the funny thing is, I've never been there for a Knicks game. I've only been there for college basketball. Because when we were in high school, me and the boys, my brother and all of our friends, we used to go down there. My parents used to let us go to the city by ourselves, by the way, when we were 16. We'd get a hotel room right there, either at the Pennsylvania Hotel or the Ramada New Yorker. They're pretty much adjacent from each other. They look at the garden. And we would sit there and watch college basketball, the Big East tournament, all day long. The first 2 days of the tournament were the best part, because you literally had 4 games. You had the morning session, and then you had the night session. You literally would go there, watch the games, leave, go find some food, be a 16-year-old in New York City, and then go back and watch more basketball. That's what we did. So those are my two. There's a lot of great football stadiums out there. I've never been to Lambeau. I would love to see Lambeau, and a lot of great college football stadiums I'm sure of as well. That I've never been to. But for me, it's Fenway and it's Madison Square Garden.
All right, I'm going to hit a sub tier here because there's probably a lot of people that are like, no, what about this? So Notre Dame Stadium, an incredible place.
Okay,
that is a wonderful stadium.
Is the grass
Boston Garden?
Is the grass better than the Rose Bowl? I know you're the grass man. Which grass is better?
The Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is the nicest grass I've ever been on in my entire life. No, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. The Boston Garden, and you got Wrigley Field. Right, you want to talk about old ballparks, Wrigley Field, that's another one that's just iconic. And then a couple college ones for me are the Big House in Michigan and the Shoe in Columbus. That Big Ten football, man, it's pretty intense. So those two places are pretty wild.
Now, we'll stay on the topic of the stadium. Is there any stadiums you haven't been to that you'd like to go to?
I've never been to.
There's two that I would like to go to. They're both college football stadiums.
Okay.
I would love to go to the Swamp in
That's
Gainesville.
a great place too.
I've never been there. I'd love to go to the Swamp.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove past Alabama Stadium last year when we were driving through Tuscaloosa. That town revolves
It's
around
huge.
That town revolves around Nick Saban and Alabama football. So if I could pick two stadiums to go to, Lambeau on the pro side, but I would love to go to the Swamp, and I would love to go to what's the name of the stadium where Alabama does play? Isn't it like Bear Bryant Stadium or something like that?
It's Bear Bryant, yeah.
But those are the two.
It's a great stadium. It is massive. It is massive. Some of these stadiums, like they're so huge, and you get all those people in there, dude. It's fantastic. I would say, man, stadium for me. I've never been to Arrowhead. I think that'd be a cool place to go. That'd be a fun one to see. As far as college stadiums go, I don't know. I feel like I've been to most of them. I never made it to Oregon. I would have liked to have seen the stadium in Oregon where the Ducks play.
Autzen Stadium. Have you ever been to Death Valley where LSU plays?
Yes, I have been to Death Valley. Yeah. That's a cool place too.
Down deep south. That's the deep south down there.
Yeah, man. I tell you, I'm very lucky. I was able to get to a lot of stadiums, basketball arenas. I mean, Cameron Indoor. I mean, that could be on the list too. Like, what a place to see a basketball game,
Yeah.
So there's so many great stadiums out there, but I hope we got the wheels turning on that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've got one more that's not on our list for you. A question that's not on your list.
Okay.
Your favorite American experience that you've ever experienced, that you've been a part of.
My favorite American experience. I'm going to say, I could needle it down to one moment in time, but we've talked about it already. I'm going to say my favorite experience is the experience to go on a road trip. Like, that's something that's always been like an American thing where you go on a summer road trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed to do it. I know a lot of people that have been blessed to do it. And I've done it multiple times. I've gone cross country more than once. And I think it's so cool because America is so great and it's so unique and it's so different everywhere in the country. So the Great American Road Trip for me is what it is, because you can hit so many things and stop in so many different places and along the way. And you can go thousands of miles. So a Great American Road Trip would be a great experience for somebody.
Yeah, you think about National Lampoon's Vacation. It's just that's kind of what it brings to mind. It's like you just pack in the car and off you go, and you just hit these ridiculous things along the way.
And listen, I've done road trips with campers, RVs, and I've done it just in a vehicle, and I've done it by bus. I've driven across the country in a Greyhound bus when I was a kid. So, like, I've done the country.
Wow.
I've probably gone back and forth across the country at least 5 times. So I've done it a lot. It's definitely best done in an RV, in my opinion. We've done it RV camping. We've done it tent camping. We've done it moving. We've done it, like, I've done it a bunch of different ways. So, yes. What's yours?
Yeah. Oh man, for me, I had the opportunity to work on College Game Day for a few years, and the best overall, like proud to be an American experience for me was working the Army Navy game and doing game day
West
from
Point?
there. And yeah, going and seeing. No, we did it in Philly.
Oh,
Philly's where we did it, and they had the game at the Eagle Stadium,
at the link.
and getting to go out on the set and see the cadets and the midshipmen side by side, just lined back was, dude, it just, I mean, it still brings like this emotion to me. It was the coolest thing. So proud of like our country. We had Black Hawk helicopters and planes flying over, and like, it was just ridiculous. What a scene. And to be a part of that, and just see those young kids that are still fighting for our freedom, man, that was, for me, that was the best thing I ever could have done.
That's really cool. I that's a good story. That'd be cool to see Army Navy, that historic rivalry.
It's probably it could be the best football game you ever take part in, because the ceremony around it and just I mean, they've got pre-game, they fly the flag in and it comes out of the back of a plane and people parachute it down, and they got everybody on the field, and they go to their areas and they get a chance for 3.5 hours to just cut loose. Mm-hmm. And not have to, follow the discipline of the military. And they're all there in their uniforms, dude. It's spectacular. I would recommend anyone going to see an Army Navy football game. It's phenomenal.
That's awesome. And speaking of Army Navy, that's going to wrap up our Q&A on America. But Navy, speaking of Navy, the book recommendation today, we're going to keep it America. And it is American Sniper by the late, great Chris Kyle. He is the greatest sniper in American history. And as a paying our respects to him, that's why I chose that book today for our book recommendation. If you haven't read it, you should read it. If you're an American and you want to really know what goes on and what our armed forces have been doing for the last 20 years in the Middle East in these wars, it is a depiction of his life. And unfortunately, it wasn't even that there long after that he released that book that he died tragically back here in the States. But American Sniper, The Life of Chris Kyle, is just a tremendous, tremendous book. You learn about his life. He's a Texas kid. He was a cowboy. He became a SEAL. He became a badass, shooting people, protecting our freedoms. And if you don't, and it's vivid. It's a very vivid description of what being a sniper is, and not to mention being a SEAL and being a sniper.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible book. His life is nothing short of amazing. The things he did for us as a country and our freedom can never be forgotten. I'm thankful that he was able to write that book. And it's just amazing how someone can go into battle and see so much action like he did. And he survived that.
Yeah.
And lost his life fighting for something else he believed in here. And that's a shame.
Yeah, no, and also if we have dads in the military, you know what I'm talking about. It also sheds light not just on his military career and what he did, and the number of kills and all that other stuff and all the accolades that came with it. It shines a light on sometimes how difficult it is to be a military spouse. Especially someone who's a special operator, tier 1, like a SEAL. His wife, like the dichotomy of their relationship and how it felt, like, man, like she is so open and honest in that book. And I would contend that's really hard for people to do, especially in a time of war like we had for all those years in a row. They're like coming home from deployment, trying to just reacclimate here, and then boom, another deployment. So it gives you a glimpse as to how hard it really is to serve in the military and to make it work with your spouse. But credit to her for having the ability and the confidence of speaking out as to what it was really like. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well said.
So anyways, but that's our July 4th episode, guys. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you checking us out on YouTube. If you're watching, it got Little Cam Hanes action. Keep hammering for God and country with my American flag colors. I got the GOAT shirt on because America is the GOAT. It's July 4th. Spend it with your families. We hope you listen to the episode while you're getting your morning workout in or whatever you're doing today. But, hey, man, listen, follow us on Instagram. Check us out on the podcast platforms. Check us out on YouTube. We really appreciate it. We've been going strong for a while now here, and we're not slowing down. So take us home, Dave.
Yeah, get out there, everybody. Enjoy the 4th of July. Spend some time with family. Fire up the grill because it's barbecue time. God bless America. Thank you all for tuning in, and we look forward to talking to you soon.